And looking in at our next match, you know, we talked about them a little bit earlier. We talked about your team Remix playing Rebels and Kea. Rebels and Kea now here versus Splish Splash.
Oh, these are our friends.
Yes.
Who's on Splish Splash? Let's talk about Splish Splash.
Let's go take a look.
Shout out to TOs for putting together these wonderful packets of forms that everyone had to fill out in order to play. That tells us about you. Thank you for doing that. We love you, TOs.
Oh, I do have teams on both sides. Let me tell you, we got Taco, Flynn, my wonderful team, Sheer Cold, our coach, Pac. On this side here, what the Pac?
Pac is playing?
Pac is playing. Pac's here.
Oh,
and
no.
Aetherizer on the side of Splish Splash.
Oh my gosh, Pac. I love Pac.
I love Pac too.
So the Splatoon community is large, but it's decently small. If you've been around for a couple years, like yours truly, you've met everybody at some point, right? Either you've met everybody or you've heard of them, for better or for worse.
I remember this morning, Pac. She posted a tweet. She's like, I'm here, and I'm like looking for her, and she's this red jacket, and I'm like, where is she? And I'm like going crazy. I'm all over the venue, left and right. I'm like, where's Pac? Where's Pac? I gotta meet up with Pac.
Oh my
I can't find her. I pull out my phone. I'm like, okay, send a message to Pac. Hey Pac, as soon as I hit send, where are you? I see Pac. I'm like, oh my god! I like run up to Pac. I'm like, ignore our messages. It's fine. I found you now, and now I get to see her. I asked her. I'm like, what group are you playing in? She's like, C. I'm like, hey, maybe I'll get the chance to commentate you. And here it is. It came true.
I love that feeling where, you know, it's a privilege that us commentators really get. It's a bit different. You're like you know everybody, right? And like you'll be talking to somebody and you'll be like, oh, I'm on block C for commentary. They'll be like, oh, I hope you get to commentate my set. Like, oh my gosh. And it's so crazy. Sometimes it's easy to forget like how much of an impact we have on people as commentators. Every now and then, like someone will come up to me and be like, I loved when you commentated my set in the week. And like it's just such an honor and such a privilege. And
here are the teams. There's Pac, that red jacket. There's our good friend Falco. There's Saf over there too, and Kea. Good friends of ours. I'm so excited to see this come out. I'm excited to see what they're going to be bringing to the table. And I believe this is losers round 2 again.
Yes.
So we're going to be starting, if I believe, on Clam Blitz on Umami Ruins.
Is that a picture of Reba?
Yes. A fun fact, you know, like I said, Falco has been showing up to FTIU. And the Rebels comes from their team name was Rebels for Reba. Yes. Yes.
Production is a little bit like, oh my gosh, is that Reba as well?
Yes, it is our queen Reba.
Reba was like when I was a child, like watching Reba, you know, when your brain is still like, who is this pretty lady? Wait, what is this? Blake?
Hi, Josh, Blake, and Charlie.
Oh,
I love a message from Pac. Oh, look at that. Very cute. I love when they have something on their phones to show off to the world.
Do you remember, I think it was Persistence last year at LTC? Icons, first of all.
Icons, yeah. Well, I fought them in my group this morning, so.
I think last year they took a game and they look at the camera and they're like,
yeah, I sure do remember that. I sure do remember that.
Iconic! Yeah.
And I mean, that's what you expect out of some of these like staple names in the community too, am I right?
Some people have a little bit of showmanship.
They sure do. And like I said, I'm right when starting off in Clam Blitz Umami Ruins. And, you know, a staple map, but maybe not quite the staple mode that we see quite as often. Teams might be a little bit more familiar with this on Splat Zone, so Clam Blitz is going to be a little bit of adjustment that they're going to be making. But as we both know, this is a very heavy lockout map. We're going to be looking to see how these teams respond and how they can break those situations where you've just got people under your ledges, people running straight into your base and trying to shut you down when you're re-entering.
There are so many different opinions on how to play this map. It's pretty annoying. What I mean by that is my team personally plays it a certain kind of way, and my teammates' team plays it a different kind of way, and then we come together and we're like, well, why did we fail that retake? And we both have very different answers as to why that is. So I think Clan Blitz Umami is a map mode where you really want to have everybody on the same page in terms of what needs to be accomplished. Otherwise, you're not getting back in the mid.
No, yeah, I think that's pretty much the one thing everybody can agree on is it is a very heavy lockout map.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to see, oh my gosh, a Dynamo coming out from the side. I think that's Rebels and Kea. Yeah, that's going to be Echo there on that Dynamo roller. And then you got 2 shots, one of each type, and the range blaster coming out. Splish Splash, maybe running the dualies that we've been seeing. Again, a range blaster on both sides and that stamp zap combo that's very strong.
I love that sound of a range blaster indirect, just like you know somebody is there and you know that they're a 1 shot away from being splatted and just... You love to hear it, you love to see it, but we see both of these teams really struggling to get control of top mid. This is a very important area, and like how you take it is up to you and your team, but you either want to have both sides of mid or you want to have somebody physically on top mid. And I think that's something that Rebels and Kea is going to be shooting for, given how advantageous the Dynamo roller can be from that position.
Yeah, they are going to be shooting for that here. And look at that. That pick onto Flynn there is going to be huge. And now you've just got space from Rebels to open up. And they're trying to just secure those few extra splats. Going to take a few extra time at the Dynamo. Finding a pick onto Aetherizer is definitely going to be a key in helping open that up.
Speak of the devil, right? Where was the Dynamo? Where did they find value? On top mid. Right. This is just, I hate overusing the term, but this is very scrappy, and neither team has control of objective, and nobody even has a power clam. Neither team has scored. It just seems like there's a lot of waiting for things to happen. I would really love to see Rebels and Kea get that Dynamo set up on top mid and really start getting some clams. Everyone keeps going down, they have clams, and then they're not able to keep them.
They are not, you know, and this is the struggle. You kind of have to work and find those plats and build your clam economy up over time before you can really find that space to push forward. And right now you are seeing that clams come together, but not quite the spots yet. And it's just as soon as I say that, 3 down on Rebels is gonna be just huge for Splish Splash. They do have a power clam online, but you can see they know that Rebels are on the respawn. They don't want to just go too far forward. They don't want to charge straight in. They know that's a recipe for disaster. Flynn is able to open the basket, but we're still looking for a little bit more space to find some follow-up.
Yeah, the crab there really generated a lot of space for Splish Splash to be able to put in, but it really seemed like they were scared. Like, they didn't want to push in. They didn't want to risk the opponents coming off of respawn, but sometimes you really, really, really just have to go for it, and one of their players did. And it's thanks to that player that now they're sitting at a lead, but regardless, like, they had so much momentum, and it just all went away, mostly because they didn't push in.
Now they're going to be really trying to bring this together here. And look, that blaster dropping down. But you've got 1 pick on the side of Rebels and Kea. And now that 2 down on both sides. It's just these kind of scrappy back and forth fights. You do see the special advantage right now in Splish Splash's favor, and they're going to use that to start really trying to find a foothold in mid. Finding 2 there with the value from that crab tank. And now they're going to really be able to start trying to lock down this mid. They just need to try to watch out for that Dynamo. It's going to pick one of them off.
Yeah, and this is an opportunity for Rebels to get Kea to potentially get that Dynamo set up, but it does get picked here by the dualies. They managed to drop and get this cooler as well, but no specials on the side of Splish Splash to potentially push in. They lose their zap, but thankfully they all already have cooler. The range buster goes as well, committing to the push while the rest of Splish Splash does back. It's a 2 down situation for Splish Splash as Rebels and Kea all come out of spawn, continuing to get paint down on the board. I will say I am quite surprised with both teams' abilities here to break back into mid repeatedly, but I think it's because neither team has taken the imposing snipe.
They're trying to do that for sure, but oh my gosh, Splish Splash shutting down a push from Rebels and Kea once again. Now a minute left here remaining in this game, and not a high score on either side. We can still see this flip on its head in an instant. Yep. The strikes coming out from Rebels and Kea, trying to get some space. They have to be careful to make sure that they're not going to be tensored here around the backside by Rebels. But it looks like Rebels is opting to try to push up that top mid area and going to be forced back instead by that Zipcaster who's coming in and kind of spreading them out. 2 down now on the side of Splish Splash. They have to really start moving forward, Skep.
Right, I'm thinking in my head, push. And they're starting to work their way up with the range blaster there. Both of them popping wave breakers here around top mid. A very good area to pop it, and these strikes come out. If these strikes find value, it depends on whether or not their teammates push up. They lose the power cram in the process. Just a lot of smoke and no fire here out from Rebels Kea, despite the fact that they have 1 power clam. They have 1 last opportunity to push in here to Mom.
They do. 12 seconds remaining. They do need to get it across all the way. Once that overtime's counter starts counting, they're going to have about 20 seconds to make it across that map and get that basket to break. That's going to be really hard, though, with 2 of them down. Splish Splash has the man advantage there at the moment. And we have some strikes on the side of Rebels and Kea, though, to try to break in. Kea finds the pick. This could be huge, but unfortunately, Kea goes down. The ball is stuck there. They need to get it up. They need to get it in. They're going to be going in. Will they be able to break it in? And they don't get it in time. They're going to be able to find connection, but just like I said, that 20 seconds you have to find and break open the basket. Just tossing it at the basket isn't enough.
We have a term for that here in the grassroots Splatoon community. We like to say, you just got my obsidist. After a very infamous and famous moment in one of our community tournaments called Low Ink.
It's unfortunate. It is so unfortunate. But like, talk about how close there. And if they had been able to break open that basket, if it had come in time, it would not have taken a lot of follow-up to flip that lead.
Oh, they would have pulled lead, 100%. Oh, what's Pac going off about?
I don't know.
Falco's having a chuckle at it.
And it's good to see, too, these teams can banter back and forth. You know, good spirits with each other, too. Everybody is friends on both sides of that stage.
It's something wonderful about Splatoon. Is everybody knows everybody, especially here at these LANs. You can find that the group of people that are able to travel to LANs are often very close-knit. And there's nobody has beef.
It's cool, too. And, I mean, you get to figure out new things about people as well. Just myself, I figured out, you know, a good friend of mine that I talked to online for a long time that had participated in my tournaments. Well, lo and behold, they live 30 minutes away from me. I didn't know that until, you know, last night. And I'm like, wow, now, you know, we can figure out stuff. We can go together to, you know, events in Houston. We can hang out, and it's cool to be a part of those events and really get to know people more.
Splatoon brings people together. Any esport does, but I would say Splatoon more so.
Absolutely.
I think we have a very strong sense of what's right as Splatoon players, very strongly held beliefs on how to treat each other.
It's a very tight-knit community, especially when you think like about other esports. And I think a lot of it has to do with our size. We aren't the largest community out there, but because of that, we're much more close to each other. It's much more intimate. You know players. These aren't just, you know, random player 1, 2, 3 that you just see in a tournament of thousands of people and have never known before. This is, you know, this is Pac and that you've seen around Low Ink Help Desk. This is Falco, who you see streaming. This is Kea and Saf, who you see around low-level events. These are people you know their names, and you finally get to put a face with it.
Here we go. Looking forward to Splat Zones on Hagglefish Market. Speaking of infamous map modes, dare I spy a CDS coming out from Aether?
I do. That could be really good for them if they can get some huge beacon placements that can really enable their team to get back in on this map. But you really want to get it back in fast, especially trying to keep control of this zone, which can flip on a dime. The bubble coming out from Rebels and Kea to try to contest. They are going to be able to flip that zone. And you can see just how much paint that Junior is putting down, but Splish Splash is definitely giving them a run for their money.
Now, this may be a controversial take, but I think that Junior here is the pick of the game. We're looking at Splish Splash's comp, where it's a lot of midline options. You're talking about the Stamper, you're talking about the CDS, you're talking about that range blaster, a lot of chip damage, and that bubble out from the Junior, especially with how much input delay some of those weapons have, is really going to be able to just say, no, I'm here. Push me. Like you're gonna have to deal with a huge AoE from coming up from those bombs. I really can't wait to see what that cooks. Yeah, it's really fun. It's an option that I was using earlier in this tournament here, and we'll continue to use later in wave pools. It's a fun weapon that can put a lot of work in, especially on zone. Now, Rebels and Kea, though, here at this zone, they found that flip, trying to look forward, able to find one pick there, seeing if they could potentially find more. The crab tank, though, is going to come out and goes. Did they go down just a quick? No, it was the Zap that went down.
just as quickly, but they aren't able to find control of that zone. They're coming back, and it looks like Splish Splash kind of just going down one at a time here, and we may be looking at a lead flip coming out.
Yeah, and I want to make sure that that beacon is cleared on the side of Rebels Kea. Splish Splash is a beacon from that CDS that's right there in mid, and I don't know whether or not they see it. And what that beacon does is that's going to provide information to them about where their opponents may be sharking in mid. Rebels Kea going to pull lead here thanks to the aforementioned bubble. The wave breaker does come out, and that's 2 down on the side of Splish Splash, and now everyone on Rebels Kea knows exactly where to shoot.
Yeah, and this is huge for them. They were able to keep that going, and they weren't having to incur a penalty. And now, Scott, this really is starting to turn into their game. They just need to try to hold zone here and see if they can maybe find another pick. But the Dynamo going down could be bad news. The bubble is going to try to sustain their push. They see someone coming around. That bubble protects them from the flank as well. You can see them dropping down, and this is huge. They may be able to keep this push going.
I can't believe it. I'm wondering, are you capping or are you not? 10 ticks remaining on the side of Rebels Kea, and that bubble really sure did put in the work, but now they have an opportunity where they could just walk forward. Here come those chumps out on the zone. The CDS is painting for their life, but they can't cap. Tied 1-1.
Huge, huge, and I have to agree that bubble and that junior were so vital to Rebels and Kea there. You know, throwing bombs can just apply a lot of pressure, but that junior holds so much space, and that bubble really denies space on that zone for the enemies to be able to take, because they've got to move into it to be able to paint it, and it can completely stop you from just being able to cap the zone altogether unless you move into its space, which, of course, I don't know about you, but I really wouldn't want to just walk straight into a bubble, not knowing if maybe there's a junior in there just waiting to give me a nice hug as soon as I walk through.
Yeah, I really want to compliment Saf's bomb placement that game. I thought that her bombs were very appropriately placed. And with good ink management. Like they weren't just chucking bombs. They were like, the opponent's going to want to stand here. Bomb. I'm gonna paint the zone. I'm gonna pop bubble. Oh, the opponent rotated over here because of that last bomb. Bomb. And I'm gonna keep paint down.
Yep.
And I was a little bit nervous because it seems like they didn't know whether or not they wanted to cap as a team, but they managed to get the right picks at the right time to deny Splish Splash there from capping that zone.
I think they really just well knew that, hey, like, the cap may not need to come right here. If we lose it, we'll have to deal with it. But if we don't look at this flank, and if they're able to get it successfully, we know that that could spell a much larger disaster. Right. And, you know, and luckily they were able to keep it where they may have not held zone for an extended period of time there, but they were able to just stop the cap from happening, which was absolutely huge for giving them no penalty to work through.
Yeah, I love Junior into mid-range chip damage comps. There's your Scapidillions hot take at me on Twitter. Junior good into mid-range chip.
Well, and that's what I have found experimenting with, even like against certain Zipcaster weapons. I actually broke it out because we were struggling against a brush. That was providing a lot of, you know, just get up, get above places. The bubble was able to provide kind of a shield that prevented that raining just damage from falling down onto us, provided space for us to paint. And then if you can just chunk a few bombs over at that recall spot, it can be really dangerous. So.
100%. And also, I want to point out that Junior is very good here on Rainmaker Humpback Hump Track. It's very good at standing on that checkpoint, particularly the one in the elbows, which is where it starts curving into the opponent's spawn. It's very good there because it says you can't push anymore. Like, and you have to deal with bombs that you potentially might not be able to see. And because of the changes in the slopes of this map, which are very unique, you never know where a bomb is going to stop rolling.
You never know. And also on the side of Rebels Kea, they have that Dynamo roller, which is able to just apply a lot of pressure over, you know, the curved, you know, topography of this map. I think that Rebels Kea has a really solid comp, but they have to make sure they know how to use it, because Splish Splash definitely puts up fights. They run in, they're scrappy, they're ready to try to just win those fights, and they're going to be trying to do so there as they take out the Rainmaker. This Snap looking to try to take some more, and now this map control is just all in their favor. They're going to be making a pretty quick break towards that right-hand side, but oh, unfortunately, it looks like Rebels Kea is going to go down, unfortunately.
Yeah, and we see that Splish Splash is able to, thankfully for them, regain control of their own elbow, right? Because that was looking pretty scary. The cooler does come out from that pencil. They're going to potentially be able to start pushing here. They lose that Stamper. There's no one on the right side of the map in front of the Rainmaker. They're both focusing on that left side flank. There's two members that could potentially push mid here and pin the members of Splish Splash.
Yes, but I think that Sorry, that point sensor was huge for knowing where to come around. The Blaster able to just kind of look at them and stop them from advancing forward. But Splish Splash is now in a great opportunity to try to make the checkpoint break here. And it looks like they are going to be able to do it. And you've already got members here just keeping this paint forward, trying to make sure that Rebels and Kea doesn't have really much re-entry options. But the bombs from Saf there going to be stopping them from getting that easy repop.
And in Splish Splash, unable to get that repop, they're going to try and back and maintain control and presence admin. We see that they're giving jumps, but those jumps potentially could be tagged thanks to that wave breaker. Rebels and Kea all coming out of spawn and starting to look forward, and they know exactly where to be shooting. Thanks to the wave breaker, really. Here comes that bubble in that sweet position that I was describing earlier. Yeah. And Rebels and Kea, 2 down. I really want to see them push in, but every single time I think they're going to be able to, they drop a effort.
Yes, and you know, you got to be careful there. The numbers change so fast on this map, especially when you're just not expecting people to be up and over this map that you can't really see. It's not very straight sight line, so you run into a lot of surprises. And it's really who can kind of react faster, who can make those split-second decisions that wind up with being who's on top. The pencil falling down here. We're going to see if Rebels and Kea can successfully pressure it, but it looks like they are one down. That range blaster goes down, and now they're going to be forced back with the blaster from Splish Splash, applying a lot of pressure. Getting in on the bubble on Sap is going to be huge for Splish Splash to get something going.
And they're starting to look forward again, right? And keep in mind, they no longer have this checkpoint in order to be able to break. The Toxic Mist going to do a great job at keeping Rebels and Kea out from pushing that Rainmaker by force. The Pencil there watching this flank, that's exactly what you want to see from a backline, making sure that they actually can push. But a Zuka shot takes the Rainmaker out clean out, and they lose the Pencil. I don't think that this push will continue for Splish Splash.
No, it looks like Flynn making the right decision to back up there and try to jump back out to safety. Now Rebels and Kea have another opportunity to try to get over to this checkpoint if they can. They've got to do so carefully. They do have one mark there on the side who's kind of sneakily going back around that corner. They do have a cooler and a bubble online for their use for this push, and a Trizuka as well coming out now to boot. This is a great bubble placement for Sap to try to guarantee them that checkpoint break, which they are going to be able to do so. But with 2 down, I don't know if they're going to have the firepower to break that Rainmaker.
I thought you could see that the Dynamo was trying to line up a Sprinkler repop, which would, the Sprinkler inside of the Rainmaker shield is one of the fastest and most guaranteed ways to repop. But when the Dynamo goes down, they lose that Sprinkler with it. So Splish Splash here very quickly counter pushing off that right side and extending their lead. Rebels and Kea only have a minute left to not only stop this Rainmaker from potentially getting the KO here, but also generating a push of their own. And that's 6 remaining for for Splish Splash there, and they're still going for it.
Yes, they are, and these scores can change so fast here. This is a map where, you know, if you let that Rainmaker get away from you, it's just going to fly down. They're able to extend their lead down to 4. Now, 40 seconds left remaining. It looks like Rebels and Kea have finally forced Splish Splash out of their base, but they've got to get that all the way across the map, almost getting a KO to be able to reverse this situation.
They have to get a KO, right? Realistically, because swimming up the Rainmaker pedestal really starts around 6. Yep. But, you know, it's just if you're there, you're there. like, you know, and then we see the cooler coming out for Rebels. They're looking for it. They get 2 down. Just gotta push faster. This is the late 3 down. Move the pencil.
Yes, and they've got this Zuka online. This could be a good opportunity for them, but will it find value? They aren't able to find any picks off of it. This Rainmaker going to be dancing around here, trying to look and find its path forward. Going forward a little too hastily, I think, there.
Ah, man.
Oh.
What an exhausting game.
Yes, gosh, and like the back and forth of that. And really, it was so long before those teams just really found that breakthrough. They were kind of stalled at that first checkpoint for most of the game.
Yeah, it was, like, you know, it was driving me crazy.
Yes.
You know, and then I saw that bubble come out from Saf, and I was like, they do it here.
Yes, it was huge bubble placement. Like that was like textbook perfect. Just enough to get them in as fast as possible, and that just edge, just protecting the dunks to make sure that they're able to secure it in time. I believe it's Falco that had the Rainmaker at that time who's able to get up there and just dunk it right on time. And then, like you said, unfortunately, the repop not quite going in their favor.
Right.
But we saw very good key understandings of what they needed to be doing in those moments.
Yeah, it really did seem like everybody knew exactly what they wanted. Well, you know, the Rainmaker goes down, you lose 1, right? And then you're, hypothetically speaking, in a 3v4. And then so if you lose that second flare, ooh, And on a humpback, not wiping, not going 4 down is so absolutely critical.
Yes.
And when they did wipe, you saw the consequences of that, right? Splish Splash was just able to push so fast and so devastatingly.
Yep.
It was good for them.
Yeah, definitely good for them. And like they're continuing to capitalize off of that momentum, and now they're finding themselves in, a set point here going into Inkblot tower control. And I mean, if we talked about the white bread maps of Splatoon before, this is just the staple map.
I have opinions.
Do you now?
Always.
Come spill your opinions out for the people.
I think Splatoon players who played Splatoon 2 in particular have forgotten how to play tower control Inkblot. Because like it's white bread is Splatoon 2 tower control Inkblot. You're playing that in a tournament, but I really think that because the variables have changed, with the Snipe Rider, with Bubbler, with Zuka, because so many different things have changed, you have to play the map differently. And I see so often people still play this map like it's Splatoon 2.
Yep, I mean, they're going to be just really trying to vie. I think the biggest thing here is going to be trying to get into those maps. And one key note that I want to talk about here is the switch off to the Neo Luna Blaster and the Gold Dynamo coming out. And they're going to be running that Inzap for their cooler instead. Definitely a little bit more of a consistent cooler option. Okay,
so I'm seeing a very short range comp and a lot of end lag on the side of Rebels and Kea. And we see Splish Splash sticking to a comp that realistically has been working for them. And they have a lot of mid-line pressure, and I really think that's going to put Rebels and Kea on the back foot as they have to try and figure out how to close the gap.
Yeah, but that Blaster doing a great job of picking off Flynn there on the side. And it looks like Kea going to maybe be looking in for more here, trying to find that range, but not going to be quite able to do so. Now the range blasters, everybody's at their mercy, shooting at that tower, finding both Falco and Seth. Now Splish Splash, this is kind of you see how fast they're going. You already see Taco Move here looking into these bats exactly where they do need to be looking. Unfortunately, the Stamper going down. The Blaster still trying to fight it out here, and I believe that's the Shot still trying to apply pressure as well. They will be kind of approaching that second checkpoint, but probably are not going to find quite getting to it, and definitely not breaking it until, well, actually, I say that. I think that was 3 down on the Spider Rebels and Kea. This still may be going for their favor.
I believe it will be, because we see this Little Blaster up on this plat, and they're called out by that pencil, and the T-Tech knows where they are thanks to that pencil. The Blaster's looking at them. While Rebels and Kea has regained control of their plat, now here's their next challenge. They have to get in the mid, and they have to drop in a situation where all of their opponents have more range than them, and that's concerning. But look at this flank here coming out. I believe this is from Saf, or I don't know, Falco. That was Falco on the end zap, and the bubble does come out, and here we go. Rebels and Kea, they figured it out. They got around, and now they're potentially going to break this first checkpoint here and storm forward.
The 2 down, and looking at that pencil, that could be huge. It's just the Blaster left up, ready to defend. Looking at that Dynamo, gonna be able to find it. We will see a lead flip here. Will they break this second checkpoint? And it looks like they probably will be doing so. Rebels and Kea trying to struggle to stay on this tower. It looks like they finally do go down, as it's just Echo left in their own base. It does look like Splish Splash now has a little bit of opportunity to breathe, kind of regroup here. But that was a great push from Rebels and Kea.
Yeah, the fact that they were able to get lead, and honestly, full transparency, was not expecting to. Just by looking at their comps, I think this is going to be an uphill battle for Rebels and Kea. But the fact that they were able to get that lead, if they could potentially hold this for the rest of the game, I think there's actually a chance that they can win this and take it to game 5.
There definitely is a chance. You never can count them out till that game is over. But the Tri-Strikes do come out on the side of Splish Splash as Rebels and Kea was trying to gear up to make a push again of their own. 2 down now, though. They kind of have to reconsider, and this Blaster is going to be giving them a hard time. But they do get kicked out by Falco there, who's just putting in a lot of work, trying to look in now at that shot, getting another pick onto Pac. Falco tearing it up, and look, there goes Kea to follow up.
This is so untraditional. Like, I am getting a little bit of a degree of whiplash watching Rebels and Kea find their way in time and time again to win those 1v1s, potentially, and they're taking pairs, right? That's what they're doing against these midline weapons. They're running it down, and they're taking fights as a 2v1, and they're winning because of it. Here they are at the 3rd checkpoint with a minute and a half remaining. All 4 players left standing, 2 members down on the side of Splish Splash. The pencil gets a pick, but I doubt it will be enough as Falco here is dancing on that tower. The Dynamo rolling around it, and they KO.
That's huge. And now kept going to a 2nd game 5 of this block.
Oh, they love to do this to us.
They do. I mean, I love it for the content. So, and I have friends on both sides, so I think I'm kind of a winner no matter what.
Ever the optimist.
Yes, I mean, I love to see, I'm always down to see more competitive Splatoon gameplay, so I'm hyped. I'm hyped for this Game 5 situation.
I am in denial. Like, I looked at that comp and I'm like...
I'm just telling you, you can never count them now
like,
until it's over.
respectfully taking off my glasses. Like, what am I looking at? You know? And then they did it to him. You know, and like honestly, like this is not like don't try that at home. Like please don't be like midline shift damage. We're gonna run an all short range comp and 2 support weapons and a Kenzo Luna Blaster. Like,
but if it works, it works.
Professionals have achieved this feat. Okay, and so like,
oh my gosh, but it goes to show, like, you can't count teams out, and you can't just because a team is running something that's unconventional, something you weren't expecting, something that maybe doesn't look great on paper, if you don't show the proper respect to that comp, they may run through you.
Right, and what I really think what I really think it comes down to is that Splish Splash, for that to work, was not playing to the strengths of their comp. And was not kiting the opponent, was not forcing them to take fights at range, you know, and that's, you're running a triple midline comp, you know, your goal there is to create as much space as possible. Yeah, you gotta be careful approaching those ledges. Like, look at the amount of splats that Kea was able to get, just coming up to a ledge, doing a little hop, and just finding a splat immediately by shooting their blaster. You've Unbelievable.
Gotta watch out, because if there's a little wall for a blaster to hop over, you can bet that Kea's gonna probably be right there waiting for you to just peek.
You know, and we'll see whether or not they stick that comp.
I'm interested to see.
Oh man, but Clam Blitz, Scorch Gorge is such a wide open map mode. That's short range. I'm deeply concerned if they stick here. They stick.
Yes, they do.
All right, make me eat my words, gamers. I don't know what I'm talking about. Who am I? If you can't play, you commentate. Am I right?
Oh my gosh. Well, we're going to be going out, seeing as they both kind of, you know, I say this all the time with my good friend Saf now, who's on the stream, you know, Clam's always a little bit of team deathmatch until you find the right splats and you find the Clam economy to kind of get a push together. And that's what we're going to be seeing here at the moment, is both these teams are going around trying to find those splats. You already see that Kea is building up a little bit of the Clam economy, mostly for the side of Rebels and Kea, and here they are. They're in a good position. They've got some clams. They could definitely make a power by tossing it to each other, but they need to find those splats. They do start by finding one on that range blaster, but with the specials on the side of Splish Splash, especially namely Crab Titan, they're able to hold space for now and just aren't letting Rebels for Kea in.
You know, we are in a Game 5 situation. Whoever wins this does take the set and is potentially looking at a chance at redemption bracket. But keep in mind how positively and affectionately obnoxious Game 1 was on Clam Blitz Umami. And it was just back and forth, back and forth. Everybody's going down, getting clams, losing those clams, and when you go down, you lessen the number of clams that are on the field. Max clams that can spawn from somebody's splat is 3, right? So just the back and forth, and both teams running a junior, which is so clutch for controlling those elbows. This is going to be another very exhausting game.
Yes, it is, and right now you can see still just kind of this back and forth situation, but Kea here going to be finding one pick in the bubble. Hawk going to be holding down the space on the side of Splish Splash. They do have a power clam up and ready to go. They need to look to try to find those picks, and again, now they're just in that 2-down situation. We see trade for trade going on with neither team really able to take significant space, but those chumps might start to spell a different story if they can kind of capitalize off the speed and go forward with it. Looks like they are trying to do so. Falco is up here with this power clam, and there's 2 down. This is the opportunity they've got to go forward. They're going to break open that basket. Rebels and Kea are going to find your first score of the game.
And there they go, getting below 70 points remaining and still having enough clams in order to be able to stall this basket.
And
2 members down. Right, exactly.
Huge.
And they have that bubble to sustain. I really want to see Rebels and Kea try and hold control of that right side, and they do. They manage to pop this bubble here. And just that little bit of stall preventing Splish Splash from getting back in the mid and keeping their presence online. It's good.
Yes, it is. And Splish Splash still 2 down. You see that Rebels and Kea are just holding space so well. 2 down on both sides means that we're going to remain in that, I say in that neutral situation, but look, Echo here looking to try to get a push going, but not going to quite be able to find the basket break as they just keep, oh my gosh, look at that go. And is Echo going to be able to get to that basket? They're trying to splat that charger, but I think maybe they've just gotten forward. They could have broke the basket regardless.
I keep seeing Kea on the Dynamo, like, roll. and like, in range of the pencil, and I'm like, oh man, like, one of these days, that Snipe Rider is going to take you out, and they just keep getting away with it. And it's just absolutely boggling my mind.
Yes, it is. And now we're about a minute and a half left in this game, and it's looking dangerous. You've got to, like, Splish Splash definitely has the clams to potentially get something going, but they've really got to start finding these picks, and it's just really hard. This Dynamo roller, especially Echo, is putting in a lot of work and just denying space for Splish Splash to get forward, and they're not quite sure what to do about it at the moment.
But they have these chumps, right? And this is such a powerful space-holding tool. It allows your team to potentially brute force an area if a Splish Splash doesn't have the tools to clear it. They don't take the time to clear those chumps. Rebels and Kea, 2 specials online. Both of those specials could potentially be used to assert dominance in their own elbow where Splish Splash really needs to be in order to start scoring.
Yes, they do need to be. And this bubble is almost ready on the side of Sap. And the cooler is coming out. There go the chumps, the cooler, there's the bubble. All 3 specials now just doing the most to deny space. Look, there you go, the basket does open, but it's now just that blaster who was not able to get in because of just the amount of aggressive just explosions and presence that they had right in front of their own basket.
Yeah, it's a score, but not a sustain. The range blaster jumps out as their teammate is jumping to them, and Rebels and Kea clean that up, which means Splish Splash now having to deal with potentially a little bit of a staggered situation. We see 2 members up on that snipe, but we see this Luna Blaster playing delicately underneath that ledge, forcing the members of Splish Splash to play the right side of this map here, where we see Falco now positioned. 2 members down on Splish Splash, and I'm getting a little bit nervous for them here.
Yes, I am too, especially now that, like, look at the clam possession that Rebels and Kea has. This could be really dangerous, especially as they're starting to push this elbow. Overtime is starting. The hammer is leading the way to victory, and there's no clam in sight. Rebels and Kea gonna secure this set 3-2.
Oh man, look at Saf there. I mean, correct, the bracket math was a little bit weird for this LTC, but I believe that just earned them their slot at Redemption, yeah?
I think so. I'm not the T. I may be a TO, but I'm not a LTC TO, so don't count me in 100%.
Sometimes us TOs don't understand bracket math either.
Yeah, I know. I looked at this bracket. It's really confusing.
Oh,
like,
what a phenomenal set, though. And you can see our competitors getting up, hugging each other, enjoying how close those games were.
And this is just the camaraderie and sportsmanship you see there. Look at that. You know, close matches, and these teams are really just able to take it in and celebrate together. Because, you know, at the end of the day, of course, everybody wants to win. Don't get me wrong, right? But the connections that these people make is just so important.
You can't possibly understand, like, how important playing in a LAN is as a competitor. I really, it makes me emotional. Like,
yes,
oh,
it does.
It does.
It really does.
It's just, you never know the importance of the people that are on the other side of the stand of the desk. You never know how important they're going to become in your life. And hi.
Hi.
You know.
Hi.
You know. It makes me feel things. Like,
yeah. It does. It does. But God, what a huge way! And I believe, if I'm not wrong, I believe that does round out this pool potentially. Question mark.
We still have winners.
Do we have one more? Oh, we do.
I think.
No. Okay, that is our last one. Okay, I think that was played off of stream. But What a
Wait,
what a show.